riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album, the show where we pick an album or a song, listen to it for an entire week straight, and then come back here to tell you, the fine listeners, whether or not we hate it and why. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, co-host extraordinaire, Hansel to my Gretel, Timothy Richardson. Gretel, how are you doing?
I am excellent, Garrett. Spookvember is upon us, and I cannot wait to continue the spooktacular. Long live the spooktacular. Death to non-spooky music, death to the Shah, etc., etc. We will go all year. 12 spooky months, spook until Halloween 2025, except obviously the brief week to do Icy Pissmas, of course. But until then, I declare every day and every episode to be Halloween.
That has been vetoed. This will be the last time we celebrate this holiday this year, and we will return to regular programming afterwards. All right, full disclosure, there will be additional deliberation behind the scenes. We are unsure when the Spooktober Spooktacular is going to end, due to the fact that several weeks were missed while Tim was, and again, his words not mine, at large.
I was
Future
in court.
Episodes.
I explained myself. Diddy turns, man.
Diddy turns. Good God. All right, moving right along, Tim, why don't you tell the fine listeners at home they've gone ahead and logged onto their computers and downloaded the episode, hopefully, rated it 5 stars. They deserve to know. What song have you been listening to for an entire week straight?
I have been listening to Ministry's Every Day Is Halloween, which I think might have been a B-side instead of the usual single. I don't know. It was released at some point in 1985, the year of Tim.
That is the year of Tim. And Tim, after an entire week with this song, well, there's no other way to ask it. Do you hate Ministry's Every Day is Halloween?
No, but maybe. I expected this song. I mean, the episode is fun. Of course it is. We're going to put on a great show for you. But, especially if you found the feed. But this song is far more boring than the title suggests it would be. It didn't grab me this week. I was expecting some spooktacular stuff, and it's just not really there. What about you, Garrett? Do you hate this song?
No, but I must qualify. Real roller coaster of emotions this week. Turns out, I don't know who Ministry is.
Well, I'm going to help you, because I have a lot of information about them.
That's unfortunate. Anywho, coming into this week, Tim, I was expecting one thing and got another. I was expecting thrash metal.
Yep,
I was expecting like some screamo. I was expecting at least heavy metal, if not noise rock. This couldn't be further from that.
Right. I was exactly in the same boat. I was expecting this to be, I don't know, I guess more similar to like an early Metallica, maybe?
I wouldn't have been shocked if it was Metallica-esque all the way up to Immure.
Yeah.
But it's neither.
What is Ministry?
It's Ministry, and we're going to talk about what that means in just a minute. Don't want to spoil it. But I was so delighted with what it actually is that I was like, yeah. And then I think you were alluding to it with your assessment. It doesn't live up to the hype.
No, and it doesn't live up to the hype in like 3 different ways. We will get into what those ways are.
Fantastic. So while I don't hate it, and I was delighted to learn what Ministry is, deeply disappointed at their failure to capitalize on such a powerful concept and title.
Absolutely.
Great stuff. Tim, prior to this week, I'm very curious. I'm lying. I could give a shit, but it's format, so I have to ask, what's your experience here? Had you ever ministried before, specifically this song?
I believe I've heard this song before, like on a Halloween mix, but that's about it. As far as I know, I am some sort of ministerial virgin.
Ew. JNCO, not weighing in. Okay.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the music of Ministry. I assume we're going to find out more about them in the coming weeks and months leading up until next October 31st with the year of Halloween. But at this point, very little. What about you? I assume you were not familiar based on your Do You Hate This Song segment.
Correct. Yeah, I thought I knew Ministry. Turns out I don't. What a surprise. Don't think I've ever heard this song. If I did, I certainly had no idea who sang it. Personal history out of the way, we will barrel forward. Tim, I am so curious. You did the history. You've got the dossier. Take us on a journey. Help me understand. And I guess if the people listening want to learn as well, feel free. Who is Ministry? And how did this song come to be?
Well, Garrett, Al Jorgensen, a.k.a. Elaine David Jorgensen, a.k.a. Alejandro Ramirez Casas, a.k.a. Alien Jorgensen, a.k.a. The Alien, a.k.a. Hypoluxa, a.k.a. Alien Dog Star, a.k.a. Dog, a.k.a. Buck Satan, a.k.a. Buck Santa, a.k.a. Uncle Al, a.k.a. Enchanted Al, a.k.a. Al fucking Jorgensen, was born in 1958 in Havana, Cuba, under the dictatorship of Fulgencio Batista.
Oh, old school.
Yeah, within a year of his birth, although almost certainly unrelated to his birth, a noble revolution led by Fidel and Raul Castro launched a 5-year struggle, eventually culminating in Fidel becoming the prime minister of Cuba and then El Presidente. Now, listener, Garrett told me we do not have time to do the entire history of Cuba, so
Correct. Let's
just assume that everything went really well and there were no problems going forward. Anywho,
Fair.
Garrett. Buck Satan and his family fled or just possibly immigrated to the U.S. in the early 60s. He grew up in Breckenridge and Chicago. His mom married Ed Jorgensen, a stock car driver and Formula One mechanic, explaining that last name. Now, Hypoluxa decided to be a musician after seeing the Ramones. Oh, by the way, almost any name I say in this history is this guy, because he has all the names.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. So he went to see the Ramones, decided to be a musician. He then went to the University of Northern Colorado, go Wildcats, then University of Colorado, go Buffaloes, and finally University of Illinois Chicago, go Wildcats again. And as a side note, UIC, go ahead and Google that. It's one of the ugliest schools in America. It's that like brutalist architectural style that looks like either a prison or a post-war Serbian housing complex. It is terrible. Yeah. In 1978, Uncle Al joined the band Special Effects, later Special Affect, a new wave band with which he released a few songs, then broke up after Enchanted, again, that's Al, Enchanted Al, got into a fight on stage with the drummer. Alien will tell you this happened at DNA Lounge, a venue which would not open for 4 years at this point. Pretty spooky stuff, possibly some sort of ghost club.
And he's lying.
Oh, next Alejandro started a band called the Silly Carmichaels, which played exactly 2 shows. Later,
it's a good name though.
In 1981, Jorge played a few shows with drag queen and John Waters collaborator Divine, then did some home recordings and decided to hire some guys to be his touring band, which he would call Ministry. This started off as sort of a new wave post-punk synth-pop kind of band, and they began performing and releasing singles in 1982, and then toured with Depeche Mode and A Flock of Seagulls, and performed with Amy Mann in the band for a while, which should all give you an indication of what these guys sounded like, again, at the beginning, versus the thrash metal that they would eventually become.
Did they?
Oh, yeah. The Ministry you're thinking of very much exists, and is the majority of their career. They just started off as this weird, whatever this is.
I mean, I'll give it a name. Industrial dance pop.
I don't even think it's industrial yet. I think that maybe by the time the song of the week comes around, but at this point, it's like pure, I mean, it's Flock of Seagulls. That's what they're doing.
It feels a little like Bauhaus, maybe even Depeche Mode or The Cure. Definitely The Cult. I don't know. This is not my milieu, although I do like Depeche Mode and The Cure quite a bit.
It is all of those things.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to interrupt, but I didn't realize that like my concept of who they are isn't made out of whole cloth nonsense.
Oh, it's
like,
100% correct. Like 90% of their career is exactly what you're thinking of.
That makes this so much funnier.
Their first single on Wax Trax did pretty well, so Arista Records signed them to a 2-album deal promising to make them the next Joy Division. They released With Sympathy, aka Work for Love, in Europe in 1983, which hit number 94 on the Billboard 200. They toured with the Police, but they weren't getting along with their record company. Dog would later claim that they forced the synth pop style on them and made him cut his hair like he was some sort of child Rocky Erickson and also wear a bunch of sharkskin suits. But I think that's bullshit because, it's 1983. He's definitely doing that anyway. But he also would later say his musical direction changed on his own, which makes me think that he was into this at least at some point. And it's unclear why he was doing a fake British accent for a lot of the time, including definitely on this song. Whatever the case was, though, they sued Arista for violating contractual obligations and left the label. Have no idea how that lawsuit turned out. Al fucking Jorgensen went back to the indie label Wax Trax that released that for a single, partially to record music for them and also partially to work as a cashier in their Chicago store, because that Arista thing didn't work out. Sire Records offered them a deal. The Alien repeatedly turned it down and then eventually accepted it on the condition that they would support Wax Trax and let them release a few more singles on there. And then the drummer left, mostly because Jorge wanted to replace a bunch of his parts just with drum machines. In
Good news! You get to take a break at stage.
Yeah.
This is not good news.
Yeah. In 1985, Ministry released a bunch of singles, including Every Day is Halloween. Now they've got a slightly more industrial sound, but it's still very synth poppy. And then again, spoilers, obviously, this song is going to go on to become a goth anthem. Inexplicably, to my ear. In 1986, they released Twitch. Now that made it all the way up to number 194 on the Billboard 200. In 1988, they took another direct change in sound. Now they're much more industrial rock, kind of industrial metal, and they released The Land of Rape and Honey.
Oh.
Yes, unfortunately named. Now, one of the songs from that album made it into the terrible, 1990 film Hardware, but they were actually supposed to be in the movie, but instead of them, they just put Gwar in there as the band actually lip-syncing, I guess, to the song. I don't know why.
I don't think I know this movie.
Yeah, no, it's a garbage, B movie.
Fair enough.
It's got Gwar in it, and Ministry.
Yeah. I feel like I should have seen it.
Probably. In 1989, they released The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste. You get it?
I don't fully get that. I don't get it, actually.
I don't either. Dog got pretty into heroin after that, but they continued to work on the next project, The Tapes of Wrath. Do you get that one? Like The Grapes of Wrath. It's a Steinbeck reference.
I don't think they read the book, though.
No. They did read another book, The Book of Lies by Aleister Crowley. And so they changed the name of that project to Psalm 69, The Way to Succeed and the Way to Suck Eggs, which is apparently named for a chapter in that book.
I don't know why that dude keeps popping up on our show.
Well, he's so evil. And we're
he's spooky.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That album was released in 1992. Now they've got more of an actual speed or thrash metal sound. They did the second Lollapalooza tour, and Psalm 69 went on to sell over 1 million copies in the US. It hit number 27 on the Billboard 200. It's not the best they ever would do on the Billboard 200 chart, but I think it's their best-selling album. Then they built a studio in Austin, Texas in 1993, which was raided in 1995, and Buck Santa was arrested for heroin possession and given 5 years probation, during which he would, spoilers, continue to do heroin.
Of course he would. Now you gotta look at that for a minute and go, either, in my mind, either a good friend or a sworn enemy had to have ratted that dude out.
Yeah, it's a real Jamie Foxx move.
What do you mean?
Well, Jamie Foxx somebody recently claimed that Jamie Foxx made a joke about how the Diddy Daddy poisoned him. That was the cause of the thing, and then he ratted him out, which is, of course, not true.
No, of course not. Probably just a silly joke.
Yes, I like to believe it, though.
I wish you wouldn't call him the Diddy Daddy.
That's what his name is.
I don't think it... it is. Damn it, it is.
Anyway, Garrett, Ministry released Filth Pig in 1996. Most people hated it. It did make it up to number 19 on the Billboard 200, and that's the best they're ever going to do on that chart. In 1999, they released Dark Side of the Spoon, which nobody liked. The same year, Alain had to have a toe amputated and almost his whole foot after he stepped on a hypodermic needle that he had just lying around, and that got super infected.
I was hoping for diabetic neuropathy, but
nope.
That's fine.
Heroin needles. In 2001,
gangrene.
Their music and the band appeared in AI, Artificial Intelligence, Steven Spielberg's greatest achievement. Now, it seems like it's a
Flesh
weird...
Fair?
I don't know.
Oh no, that's Kid Rock. Kid Rock's at the Flesh Fair.
No idea. It seems like a weird story, but it does get weirder, because as you may know, as you definitely know, as some of our audience may know, that film started out being developed by Stanley Kubrick, starting in the 1970s until he handed it off to Spielberg in 95 before, spoilers, dying. lying. It was Stanley Kubrick that specifically demanded the band appear in the film. Alan would say, it was all initiated by Stanley Kubrick, who called me up out of the blue to say he was a big fan, and he had this screenplay that he sent me and wanted the band to write the music for it. First of all, I hung up on him. I thought it was a crank call. His secretary was calling, and I was like, yeah, right. And then he called back personally. He talked to me, and I was freaked out. I mean, who wouldn't be freaked out? There's this eccentric American god living in the countryside of England, and he's calling me up in Austin, Texas, and saying he wants me to do the music for his film and wants me to be in his film. I didn't even believe it. And after Kubrick died, obviously, they stayed involved in the project, despite some tension between Al and Steven Spielberg, mostly centered around the fact that the alien insisted on saying he thought AI stood for anal intruder and claiming to be super offended and threatening to walk off the project, which, and this is true, real Tim move.
Yeah, you get like real hung up on stupid shit.
Yeah.
You've almost destroyed a lot of positive things in your life because of things like that.
Well, yeah.
And things in my life.
They're funny jokes.
They are very funny jokes. I'm torn, you know? It's like when a little kid swears, you got to tell him to stop, but god damn it, it's funny.
It is. It is. Speaking of funny, Al then almost had to have his entire arm amputated after being bitten by a venomous spider. Now, allegedly, that's obvious bullshit to cover up some sort of Requiem for a Dream-like situation. And I know that, or I suspect that. I do not know that. This is alleged. Because he then had to quit his massive heroin, cocaine, crack, LSD, pills, and Bushmill addictions, which, spoilers, he did not.
Bushmills? The beer?
I know it's Irish whiskey.
Ugh.
Yeah, he was drinking 2 bottles of it a day.
Maybe he found the cure for raging alcohol and drug addiction. It's spider bite. You might lose your arm, but you gain your life.
That is spooky.
Addicts, write in, hatePodMail@gmail.com. Would you remove your arm from the elbow down to have lifelong sobriety? Effortless lifelong sobriety.
Or to have a lifelong high.
Oh, God. Of course they would.
In 2003, Ministry released Animositasomina, which sold poorly.
I can't imagine why.
They released the song No W on Rock Against Bush Volume 1, released by Fat Wreck Chords and Fat Mike of NoFX fame. They released Houses of the Mole in 2004 with political lyrics, then Rio Grande Blood in 2006, then The Last Sucker in 2007. Now, if you're asking, are they going to stop releasing albums after this? No. They released 2 covers albums, Cover Up and Undercover, in 2008 and 2010, respectively. They did a final show in 2008 that they were never going to do another show, but that one sold well enough that they did a second final show the next day, but they're done with music now. Except when they released Relapse in 2012. And then their guitarist Mike Scacia died after an onstage heart attack with his other band Rigor Mortis, and Ministry broke up again forever. Except
I feel like on stage is the... Hold on. I see what's happening now. Boy, just pause the truck for a moment. I feel like on stage is the safest place to be when having a heart attack. Like, if you're gonna get help, you're literally in an environment where everybody is looking at you.
Yeah.
How do you not get to a
heart attack?
Yeah. Well, like, what's his face there? Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
He had a quadruple bypass. It doesn't get much worse than that.
But he didn't... well, yeah, okay.
And he did have a heart attack. But his seemed to last for a while.
Yeah, well, Kevin Smith is a weak man. You know this.
Yeah, and by his own admission, folks, his description of what pain is just, it's just not. I'm in more pain physically right now.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, the other thing is he might have tried to power through it. I know somebody who will try to power through essentially heart attacks almost constantly.
Who?
You're doing serious damage to your body. Now, Garrett, having broken up and never going to release any music ever again, Elaine released From Beer to Eternity. Get it? From Beer to Eternity? In 2003.
Oh, I do get it.
Yes. He toured to support that album, but pledged no further albums. Ever. Now, around this time, his daughter noticed that while he had a whole bunch of tattoos, he didn't have any piercings, like a pussy. So she called him a pussy, and he responded by calling her a pussy for not having any tattoos. Imagine this scene, Garrett. Hey, Dad, where are your tattoos, you fucking pussy? That's not the right voice. Anyway, Garrett, she called him a pussy. He called her a pussy. They decided to rectify the problem. She got a tattoo or whatever, and he got 16 face piercings.
16 is not a normal number.
A single one, I think, would have rectified the problem. My read is that her parents would not let her get a tattoo, so she tricked her dumb, heroin-addled father into letting her get a tattoo and then punished him by making him pierce his dumb face 16 times.
I mean, I hope reasonably you could get a dozen of those 16 in your ears.
He didn't, though.
Oh, huh. Side note, if we ever need to make bonus content, side content, or maybe Patreon content, I really want to have the spin-off podcast, Timothy Richardson, Master of Voices.
Well, I've certainly already deleted the voice I did from that because it was offensive.
It was unique.
Yeah, listen, listener, I deleted the voice. Know that it was offensive. We're keeping this part in, so you know it doesn't matter. It's gone.
There's a good chance, though, we kept the voice in. And if we did, you're welcome.
Yeah.
But I just want to say the format is I give you a sentence and an impression to do. You don't know it offhand. Like, it's all live. And you just got to do it. You got 30 seconds to put together what you think that sounds like, and you deliver the... I honestly think it might be way funnier than this show.
I agree, but we have to do it both ways because you need a control, like somebody who can actually do this, and then me. So maybe
I don't know why that didn't occur to me.
Maybe what we do is you record your version of each one of these beforehand so that it's not you listening to me and then I do mine and then we play it and I see what I was supposed to do.
Or you get the real person. Like I take audio clips from media of that person saying that sentence and then we have you do it.
No, because I want it to be very clear that it's easily done.
It's so much more demeaning to you.
Yeah, I know.
That's good stuff. Yeah. Okay, anyway, let's get this over with.
Well, right. So since Ministry completely broke up and will never release another album again, they released Americant in 2018. Now, if your question is, did they spell Americant with 3 Ks? You bet your sweet ass they did, Garrett.
Why?
Americant, KKK. I don't know, Garrett. I honestly do not know.
To somebody who doesn't know that band and they're perusing their local Best Buy or record store, I mean, guess.
Yes, there's a lot of racists that bought it hoping that it was going to be racist music, yes.
Wouldn't you pick that up going like, oh, finally, somebody's talking the truth, brother? And like, well, wait, what's this? Yeah, it seems like it's pro-racism.
Yeah.
I assume it's not.
I don't think it is, no. Big A immediately began working on another album because, and I quote, I have to get as many albums as I can done while Trump is still president. And then what am I going to do? Write those crappy albums that I write when Democrats are president?
It's a weird thing to dictate the quality of your music.
Absolutely. But don't worry. You'll get many, many more years of attempts here.
So hold on. Let me validate this stupid person for a minute. What you just read is arguably, maybe inarguably, one of the stupidest things anyone's ever said. The quality of my songs are contingent upon how much I hate the person who is president at the time. However, still more valid than people that believe in crystals and astrology.
Well, sure. Everything is. Listener,
but
if
like
you believe in
people.
Crystals and astrology, and this is true, this is a Why I Hate This album true fact. We haven't done one of those maybe ever.
Oh, God, that's really mean. I thought we were going to try to, like, speak truth to power. Or
we
maybe
probably
that's not the expression.
It or something.
You're misguided, gang. It's all nonsense.
Yes, you are incorrect. How about that?
There we go. I hope we kept the other way.
Anyway, Garrett, that new album was called Moral Hygiene and was released in 2021, notably when Trump was not president. Billboard did an expose then on Sin Quirin, one of the many guitarists Ministry had over the years, and his many alleged relationships with underage girls in the mid and early 2000s. He then left Ministry in 2021 to look after his health. Then, Garrett, Ministry released Hopium for the Masses. Get it? Hopium? It's like opium, but with hope. Hopium for the Masses in 2024. And they will release one final album in 2025 before disbanding forever, never to release another album or tour again until 2027. And on a personal level, I just want you to know, Alien Dogstar has kicked his drug habit for good. He has been clean for the past years, with the small exceptions of beer, marijuana, and psilocybin, which I think is totally fair.
Oh, God. I could kind of look past 2 of those, but one of those is pretty disruptive.
Well, he's clearly also an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Anyway, Garrett LaFace.
And a Sam Witwicky to you.
Oh, we should do maybe an episode of that new podcast where I just do your Sam Witwicky voice.
Sam Witwicky.
Was that pretty good? That's pretty good, right?
That's not bad. I love when you do voices. I don't know why. Because they're weird. Great history, though. That is to say, mildly enraging. That brings us to, well, general thoughts on the song itself. Before we get into it, though, let's give everyone a little bit of a taste. Remind everybody what we're dealing with. Ministry's Every Day is Halloween. Roll the tape, Gina. Hilarious.
And just for a little bit of context, let's play that Dave Navarro acoustic version. Weirdly sexy.
I guess. Anyway,
Yeah,
we already
so-
sort of delved into the general thoughts a bit with the What's It Sounds Like.
Yeah, I mean, to reiterate, I was also expecting thrash metal, but this, it feels like it could be played over like an establishing shot of an 80s ski movie, or
Yes.
maybe as a character investigates the inner workings of the Tron world for the first time. It's...
Oh, I didn't even think it was that bleepy and blorpy. The two I
Well-
came up with is like opening credits to an 80s movie, like where we're seeing a lot of city skylines and
Yeah.
people walking the streets, going to their adult business jobs, or a montage. You could definitely do a montage to the first minute of this song.
Right, but it would be a montage of the, like, cool 80s guys, right? Like, there's a
Oh,
lot
sure.
of pop collars, there's a lot of, like, real bright colors, there's a lot of weird ski jackets and giant sunglasses, which is odd because that seems like the exact opposite thing that this song, well, and we'll get into the meaning of this song, but it seems like the exact opposite of what they're going for, right?
Yes.
The music, I don't understand how this became a goth anthem, because the music
get
to
it.
me, it's far too, like, the cool kids should like this song.
No, see, because every song sounded like the first minute of this. And once they start singing, you're like, oh, you're bad at this. And the topic is very strange.
Yeah, but it's very hard to understand most of the time. Again, the alien and whomsoever is doing the background vocals, they're all clearly singing in British accents, right?
Just barely. I mean, and by that I mean just barely singing.
Well, okay, they're doing the vocals.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're doing a whole thing.
Yeah, but the music, it's all synth bass. There's some maybe whistles for a while. And then you get like a synth record scratch solo about halfway through this thing.
That is a beast.
I
It's
got
a
that.
minute.
It's not like they're not doing a thing. It's
just record scratching to the beat.
I think that's better than what they do.
It goes on so long. It's like a good 70 seconds in the middle of the song, and it really tests you. Like, it goes on so long that it pisses you off, and luckily continues beyond that point to the point where you begin laughing that it's still going. Every time.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Any shorter and I'd have smashed my phone. Any longer and I might have hunted down Ministry. The content, Tim. The content is really why it became a goth anthem.
Sure. It's a spooky song.
Yeah, I have a lot of theories about what it may be about. I think on its surface, it's very easy to say that it's probably just about dressing different, like a goth or a proto-emo kid, and, people thinking that you're so weird.
Sure.
Or whatever the fuck Boy George was doing back then. I don't know what to call that.
It was weird. What he was doing and what he continued to do for the rest of his life was weird.
And felonious at times.
A lot of the time, yeah.
That's
Anyway,
going to be a solo cast.
ugh. Let's get into the lyrics before we do that, though.
Fine. Song begins. Well, I live with snakes and lizards and other things that go bump in the night.
Let's stop
'Cause
right
to me,
there. Let's stop right
okay.
there. So this,
Okay.
already, I've got the guy, the Paul F. Tompkins joke about the guy, you've got like a parrot on your shoulder. It's just I've got a weird pet that I carry around in place of a personality.
Instead of a personality,
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah. Paul F. Tompkins has humorous observations on this topic. But that's all I could think of whenever I heard that is, ooh, I've got lizards and snakes. Okay, cool, man. This feels very manufactured.
I immediately thought of Nightmare Before Christmas, a movie I've never actually seen, but I do know there's a song that's like, this is Halloween, this is Halloween. And that's like very much how this felt.
Yeah, and that, by the way, awesome song.
Oingo Boingo.
Don't know what
Anyway,
that means. We're just
that's,
doing noises now. Bingy bangy.
God
What are we
damn
doing?
we don't have time for me to explain. Anyway, as I was saying, Tim, this guy lives with snakes and lizards, other things that go bump in the night. 'Cause to me, every day is Halloween. I've given up hiding and started to fight. So, couple interpretations. Obviously, the most surface, I'm weird and different and I'm tired of hiding. I'm going out in society and you're just going to have to deal with it, okay, Dad?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably what they're thinking, but I'd love to hear the or.
Alternate readings, monkey paw situation. I love Halloween so much I wish it could be every day. It is for you, but only you. So like you wake up in the morning and you're in a costume, but you're not just in a costume, it's your skin.
Oh dear.
And you gotta wear that all day.
See, I had a very similar thing. There's no horrific body horror in mine. I was just thinking instead of a goth, maybe like he's dark, he's gothy, he's not gonna hide, he's out and proud as a Halloween dresser. But I really, really, really would love it if goth, instead of, if you want to be Halloween-y, you wear Halloween costumes every day. Basically what you're saying, but more like intentional, right?
Right. So instead of being like Azrael, Princess of Darkness, it's like, I'm a My Little Pony today. Tomorrow I'm going to be Slimer the Ghost.
Right. You open up your closet and instead of clothes, there's a giant penguin outfit. There's the ghost face thing from Scream. There's a pirate. There's the Flo, the progressive insurance lady, which for some reason is a costume. There's a Star War. Yeah, maybe you make your friends go to the beach dressed as mustard and ketchup, just instead of normal clothes. Like, it would be so much more fun if instead of goths, they had just adopted that aspect of Halloween.
In the interest of perhaps wishing this into existence through the power of our listeners, rather than say instead of goths, Tim, why don't we just say, hey, listeners, let's make this a new thing. Let's, there's got to be people out there that love Halloween this much. Goths can keep gothing. What do we call these people? Halloweeners?
Tombers.
Wait, tombers.
Like costumers, but you drop the cost.
I see. Are
you tombing today?
It's weird because I came up with something similar, but I didn't get nearly as obvious and like clean as yours. I came up with stoomers.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, stoomer.
Yours makes sense and isn't really stupid. Mine is. That's why I didn't say it at first. But now I'm kind of just in awe of the fact that I broke apart the word at the S. Fascinating.
It's a real Tim pronunciation there.
You stewman?
Yeah, but I love this idea because I love the idea. Like, here's the thing. You don't even have to wear a full costume. Like,
interesting.
So like maybe today it's a laundry day. You don't really feel like doing the laundry before you go out, but you've got a shirt, but just bottom down, you're dressed like a pirate.
Interesting. It still counts.
Yeah, absolutely it does.
Okay. Or I was going to say maybe
you're going hiking and you forgot your hat, but in the back of your car, you've got a pumpkin mask. And so just toss that thing on your face.
It's okay. It's becoming a little alarming. I was going to say, like, on your off days, if you're just not feeling it, like, you can still dress like a person, but be in costume. Like, you could, like, rock a Marty McFly look.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is great.
I like the one where you wake up and you're just like, oh, God, I'm a pirate today, and I can't get it off because it's my skin.
I mean,
and everybody's just like, look at this freak, and you're just like, I can't help it.
That is a fun movie there. I like this.
All right, after the first verse, which is all we've read so far, I know, if the music wasn't silly enough, and I guess honestly the lyrics, then we get a little ba-boo ba-bop, ba-boo ba-bop, and that goes on throughout the entire song. Song continues. Well, anytime, any place, anywhere that I go, all the people seem to stop and stare. They say, why are you dressed like it's Halloween? You look so absurd. You look so obscene.
Yeah, I love this idea of stoomers.
Sure. Or people that are, for whatever reason or another, damned or doomed to wear a costume not of their choosing. So that's the fun part, Tim. Every morning, this damned person wakes up and there's something else. It's never the same thing twice.
Maybe they're like, I'm completely ignoring your horrible body horror thing.
I don't love that.
Maybe they're like furries, right? They're sexually into it.
Okay, well, that was why my body horror thing was great, because like every once in a while he's going to be like a sexy cat.
Well,
and
yeah,
everyone's
okay.
like, put some clothes on. And he's like, I can't.
No, but that's great because so the problem is you would, your significant other, or presumably you'd go out trolling bars at night for people to make love to.
Why?
Well, because no one's going to date you.
That's true.
Here's the problem: if you find somebody that's super into what you're into, right? You find one of these pirate freaks, a pirate fucker, if you will. They come home with you
tomorrow.
They wake up. Yeah, you wake up in the morning, and I don't know, you're a giraffe. Your neck is 19 feet long, or however long giraffes' necks are.
Probably not that long.
No, probably not. But the point is, you're a completely different creature.
Hoops.
It might be.
Now I wish they were. I've always thought giraffes were magnificent and unique creatures, but now I feel like they're just disappointing.
Let's find out real quick. Giraffe neck.
I'd say 12 feet is the biggest.
Holy shit. A giraffe's neck, according to the AI thing, a giraffe's neck can be up to 6 feet. What?
Yeah, that sounds right. What'd you think?
I mean, I said 19.
Well, sure. We all knew that was wrong.
Well, they gotta...
Have you seen a giraffe?
I have, yeah. I've been on a second story of something, and I fed them leaves. I felt like it was much longer.
That's fair. Yeah, I would have said 8 on the long end.
You said 12.
Sure, but I wasn't really thinking about it.
Well, okay, now that you know the answer, now you're thinking about it. Anyway,
I still would have been wrong, you psycho.
Why are you dressed like it's Halloween? You look so absurd. You look so obscene. This has become very dated. It's like kind of a jocks versus nerds 80s movies thing.
Yeah, nobody cares anymore.
Yeah, but it's funny because...
It's not quite like the Harajuku district, but for the most part, yeah, there's all sorts of people dressed like weirdos. We don't care.
Yeah, especially in this goddamn city.
You know what it did make me think of, though, is you got to think of the time. So, to your point, this is crazy dated. So, in the 80s and even in the fucking late 90s, America was still wildly conservative. So when I was 16, I bleached my head.
Your head or your hair?
Hair,
okay.
Technically. But I shaved my head first, so, Anyway.
So you bleached your head?
Yes. My parents, you'd have thought, Tim, that I got my belly button pierced and had a chain hanging from it and attached to heroin.
Well, you don't want to lose your heroin.
It is a handy place to keep it. Anyway, that was the level of just oh my God, what are people going to think? What's wrong with you? And so if I had been consistently dressed like a pirate or giraffe, as you mentioned, my parents would have definitely been concerned.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I look back on it, and the one thing I will say, JNCOs, that was totally the right move, right? Just
they had me dollars to donuts on that one.
Yeah, you look so absurd. You look so obscene. Don't say they were comfortable.
They were really expensive though.
Yeah, especially in 90s dollars.
Yeah, I kept buying them, and my mom kept throwing them away. It was really frustrating.
Yeah. Verse 3. Well, I let their teeny minds think that they're dealing with somebody who is over the brink, and I dress this way just to keep them at bay because Halloween is every day. Which is weird, because this to me implies that 80s jocks are scared of goths. I don't think that people thought that they were literal vampires, right?
No, but I mean, they would just kind of ignore them. They're not scared of them. They're just
maybe.
I mean, they do think they're a little weird.
Yeah.
I don't think they think they're dangerous. They're more just oh, what a weirdo.
Yeah, but I do like that I let their teeny minds think what kind of an idiot wouldn't think this is cool?
Look at them with their organized sports and algebra. Huh?
Yeah. But I do think so. Going back to the either forced to by some sort of witch's curse or just because you're a stoomer, I will say it is genuinely terrifying. I don't know. I've been on the subway in March and some guy gets on dressed as Gumby for no discernible reason. Jesus
that guy's
Christ.
Gonna rob you.
I don't know if he even wants my money. He wants my flesh, perhaps. I don't know.
The only way I can de-Gumby is to replace it with man meat. You're gonna be my people suit. Oh, it's my stop. Just prying open the door of a moving subway. Oh, that's me. Oh, God.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not jump off a subway train while it is in motion. You will immediately die.
You'd think they'd make it harder to do, but they don't.
Yeah.
You won't immediately die in all cases.
Almost every case. If it's moving through those tunnels, yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah. If you're in a tunnel, yeah.
Because, best case scenario, you'll be fine on the dismount. You'll just fall over, but then you're going to hit that third rail.
Yeah, you are. You think you're not. You think you're going to run when you hit the ground, but you're not. You're going to stumble, and you're going to electrocute yourself like an idiot.
Yeah.
All right, let's read the chorus. Chorus goes, oh, why can't I live a life for me? Why should I take the abuse that's served? Why can't they see they're just like me? It's the same. It's the same in the whole wide world. Why can't they just let me express myself, Tim?
They do. You're dressed like that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but they mock me.
Yeah, that's
That
the
old
give and
woman is
take.
looking at me strange.
Right, you're dressed like a maniac. You are dressed like a goddamn tiger, and you're walking around on all fours pretending to be a tiger, but it's not a very good costume. Nobody's fooled, if that's what you're thinking.
No, they're not.
No, and your girlfriend there, Optimus Prime.
Sandwich Wiki.
Yeah.
Does he know any other words? All spark. I'm sorry I asked.
Oh, she's a pretty lady, though. I'll give her that.
Wait, what? I'm not the only one that's so absurd. Why hide it? Why fight it? Hurt feelings, best to stop feeling hurt. Denials, reprisals. It's the same. It's the same in the whole wide world. Twilight Zone situation, let's flip it. Instead, he's not the person in costume. He wakes up and everyone else in the world is wearing a Halloween costume every day of the week. So every day is Halloween, but he's the only one that realizes it. And on the one normal day, when he dresses, or on Halloween, everybody dresses like a normal, like a square.
I like
and he
that.
can't seem to convince them. I'm not the one that's so absurd.
That would be annoying, right? Like, so you wake
You're
up
dressed like a crayon.
everybody is dressed in Halloween costumes, and you've gone out all gauche in your normal clothes, and everyone's making fun of you because you're the weirdo. And then the whole time you're thinking, is this just a bit? Am I going to like come out in a Halloween costume and everyone's going to, it's like a fucking hidden camera show, you know? When you just, you quickly just be like, yeah, everyone's normal. This is what always happens. Let me just go back in. I'm sorry. This is my like pajamas or something. And come back out, as you said, dressed as a crayon or a carrot or whatever. And everyone's like, you fucking idiot.
But I flew yesterday. There's no way they got two different states to do it. You idiot! You look ridiculous. How did you even do this?
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. Song ends with somebody repeating over and over again, it's the same. It's the same in the whole wide world. It's the same. It's the same in the whole wide. Oh, etc., etc.
Yeah. And again, I want to just say if this is just about, dressing like a goth, which presumably it is, I love the concept of these are people expressing their individuality by adhering to a strict dress code that just happens to not be what the popular kids are wearing. Because it's the same thing. Like, you're not wearing a polo shirt and boat shoes, but you have the same rigid rules. And if you don't want to be controlled by something, a fashion trend or whatever, you can't do the exact opposite, because then you're still being controlled by it.
Yeah. The only real true form of freedom is to become a stoomer.
Yeah, right.
And then you pick something unique that you identify with on that day and that day alone.
Yeah.
No repeats.
Ever.
It's an expensive habit.
Yeah, I mean, you can get them pretty cheap at one of those spirit stores,
Just fucking raid a spirit store the day after Halloween, buy all the leftovers.
That would be really the real problem in this whole thing. If you were like the only stoomer in your town, say you live in like you're just over the border, you're in New Jersey somewhere.
Sure.
After that Spirit Halloween store closes down, like, you're going to have some real trouble finding clothes.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an online situation.
Oh, well.
Or you get really good at crafting.
Yeah, but you don't want to do like,
Instagram.
it has to be very specific, because you can't just be modifying previous costumes, like some sort of Marge Simpson in that episode where she's got that Chanel dress,
Oh, I know. Jesus. Anyway. We also, not to mention, like, you're doing everyday Joe stuff in this clothing. You can't go for a run in something you hot glued in a bunch of like hot glued egg cartons.
Oh, you have to. If you're a stoomer? Yeah.
Well, no. What I'm saying is you got to have top quality stooms.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to be sweating in these things, you need your Robin Hood costyme to wick.
And I imagine it would. Yeah. Because I mean, the other thing is with a Robin Hood costume in particular, you get those tights, you've dyed a pair of tights, they're basically running clothes as it is, other than the hat.
If it's cold out, I would imagine tights are fucking hot if it's not cold out.
They're warm in your upper thigh region. But you put off an awful lot of heat.
I definitely generate some BTUs. That is for sure. I wish there was a way I could convert the heat that I put off into actual electricity, because I feel like I could power an iPod.
We could create some sort of canopy that goes over you and sort of somehow sucks all that heat out, and probably also want to collect that water that's coming out, and we've recycled that.
I'm my own own biosphere.
I mean, this is a great
Gross.
tomb. You could go as the Pauly Shore movie Biodome.
I was going to say the actual thing, Biosphere 2, but your thing's better. You pop your fucking head out from underneath my armpit. Hey, buddy. Don't waste the juice. You know what? I already hate this costume. Get out of my stoom. God. I thought I wanted him to be Pauly Shore when the other option was that lesser Baldwin, but I've made a mistake.
Steven, right? Was that Steven
Yeah,
Baldwin?
it's Steven.
Yeah.
I thought it was Billy for a second, but no, it's Steven.
Which one's the worst of the Billy and Steven?
I think I'd rather have a Steven than a Billy.
I don't know.
I think Steven's done real work.
Yeah, it's a real shame, though, because it's not like the Hemsworths, where at least there's like a clear pecking order. After Alec, it goes way down, and there's who knows?
Yeah, that's true. And there's just countless of them. It's obnoxious.
Yeah, they're making more every day.
I'm 74 years old and I've had 3 children in the last 2 years. You figure it out. No music video on this bad boy, so we'll jump to how did it do. Tim, how did it do?
No idea. It did not chart on any chart that I could find. Again, it's become something of a cult hit, but still no idea.
Fantastic. And what did people think of it?
Well, there are 46 total ratings on Amazon, 4.8 out of 5 stars on average, 91% 5-star, 3% 1-star. Ryan G. Fresh said great for the quote-unquote season. Don't know. Give 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know.
I assume it's the Spooktacular?
Possibly, but every day is Halloween. Should be every season.
Maybe he's a goth.
Low titled his or her review, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes I really love this song, sometimes I don't. My kids think it's great, 3 out of 5 stars.
I hate that.
I'm
review.
not always in the mood for it, but sometimes I am.
Yeah, like music? God.
Oh, Garrett. But I did go to YouTube, got some YouTube comments on that. Again, we don't have a music video, but there was some sort of weird old-timey cartoons that somebody set this to that had like 5 million views.
Jesus.
Graveyard Ghost 2603 from 3 years ago just said, I used to have this on a cassette of Ministry singles. Can't believe I found it again. Oh my goth. Bat emoji. Bat emoji. You guessed it. Third bat emoji.
I'd have been disappointed without that third one.
Felix Vasquez 6210 1 year ago. I'm a real-life mad scientist, biochemist, whose lab overlooks St. Joseph's Cemetery. For me, every day really is Halloween. Pumpkin face emoji. No, jack-o'-lantern emoji. There it is.
I see. Remember when I used to live in that place next to the cemetery?
Oh, I do. It was spooktacular.
Did I ever tell you the time I called the police because I thought there was a baby crying in the cemetery?
It was just a ghost.
And it was not, you idiot. It was... Good guess, though. It was a cat.
Crying.
I would feel a lot dumber and would not reveal this story if 3 other people hadn't done the exact same thing. And were like, there's a baby crying in that cemetery, right? And I was like, yes, there is. And it is keeping me awake.
Delightful. Was that
baby.
Apartment where we used to shoot water balloons at people?
Oh my God, it was.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It was weird. Yeah, because there was a cemetery right across, but like kind of catty corner to that. There's like a couple there's like a few bars and
bars and some apartments. Yeah, we would tie the water balloon launcher to the railing and really ruin people's days.
Yeah, we did save that girl's life that one time though.
Which one?
The guy was like pulling her into a car, and we shot them into the roof of the car, and she got out and ran off.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
she was almost taken.
Off. Yeah. Yeah. Juke Pabluner 2 months ago said, my son was born on Halloween.
I like Juke Pabluner.
Yeah. Belle Memore 8 months ago, best thing about this song, passing it on to my baby goth daughter. She's 19, who's adopted it as her quote unquote theme song.
What? We can have theme songs now?
We can.
Do you have one?
I do.
May I know it?
You will know it when I play it.
What'll happen?
I'll walk in the room and it'll be playing.
Okay. I need to pick one.
Yeah, you do. And it's got to really represent you. And it can't be Every Day is Halloween by Ministry.
Karma Chameleon.
Ooh, that is a good one. But here's the problem. You can't use it because you told me. It has to be announced by its presence. I don't want to know what your song is.
You should have told me that first.
L. Felicia 5 years ago said, LOL, we were always asked if we were dressed for a funeral. I remember we were strolling through City Park around 7 a.m. after clubbing all night. A young couple with children of ages probably 5 and 6 years old were walking down path coming toward us. They grabbed their children and ran away from us, all in black, a couple of us with bleach blonde hair, and one of us had a fantastic spiked mohawk. All of us with high IQs, jobs, and in college. LOL.
I work with people now, like in very professional situations that have like pink hair.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Nope.
They're real smart and like Ned's never been a question. That's crazy. Yeah, it was a different time, I guess.
If they shaved their head and then dyed it blonde, what would people think?
No, absolutely nothing. Nobody cares.
One more, Garrett. Richard Robbins 8727 from 3 years ago. I wake up every morning because every day is Halloween. Give my daughter juice, milk, and her favorite cereal, Cocoa Puffs. She tells me I want to see the Ministry cartoon. Pack her lunch in her backpack, drop her off at school. She says, Papa, they make fun of me. They envy darkness and intelligence. You have baby? Why do I feed my child this music? She's bright. She's beautiful.
You lost me a little bit in the middle with the Papa, they make fun of me.
Well, so it's unclear. She says, Papa, they make fun of me. They envy darkness and intelligence. And I can't tell if she's saying, Papa, they make fun of me, to which he replies, don't worry, they envy your darkness and your intelligence. Or if this small girl is saying, Papa, they make fun of me. They envy my darkness and my intelligence. What?
Listen.
Jesus Christ. If your child says that,
stab them.
Yep.
Right in the heart.
That's a possessed child. Get that demon out of there.
It's the best thing you can do for them.
To our listeners, do not stab your children.
Child.
Any
Don't
child.
stab your children.
Anyone, yeah.
Yeah, bring no harm to children.
Right. Now, I mean, you get that demon out of there.
Yeah, I'll get a young priest and an old priest. Call Tim and I. We sell a very exclusive line of holy water.
Yes. I've priest.
Oh, numerous times.
Believe all of that. Jesus Christ. That is
yikes.
Potentially.
Alrighty, Tim. Let's keep moving for the love of God. Who's this for?
Stanley Kubrick.
Goths.
Yeah, well, self-important goths.
All right. Final thoughts, Tim. Anything come to mind as we read through the fairly shallow lyrics of this song?
I do not understand how this caught on as a cult hit. It is super understated. It's pretty boring. I mean, it's weird, but like I can't even get liking it ironically like that Darkness song. I mean, it makes sense to me that this was released as a B-side. It's kind of a big meh.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. But I guess I could probably see in like 1985, a few years after it's been kicking around, a bunch of goth kids that just don't really fit in.
Listen, if you want what this song is supposed to be, just listen to that Bela Lugosi's Dead song. That's what
true.
You want.
That is what you want. Watch a bunch of old Universal Monsters movies. I don't know what goths are into.
Yeah, it's that.
Okay, good stuff. Tim, do you hate it?
No, but again, meh. What about you? Did you get there?
Mirror image. Don't hate it. Equally meh. Alrighty, that brings us to listener mail. Tim, you want to go first or do you want me to?
I mean, I should probably go first. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I should go first. And I've got two, one medium and then one very short, because we haven't done this in a bit. The first one is from Brianna, who writes, Dear Gold Cobra and Terry Chardson, as somebody who has listened to every single episode T2B at least twice, if not more times, I want to say thanks for making this silly little show a thing. It is my go-to background or bedtime show. It is my comfort show. Anyway, enough mushiness, into the questions. Were you able to find out the identity of the candlestick maker, or has he gone into legend like the West Campus Strangler? Now,
one of those is a legend, one of those is very real.
Well, the candlestick maker's the goddamn dashboard confessional guy, right?
I could not say for certain.
Pretty sure. It's the same person as the Florida girlfriend gouger, I believe was also from that episode. Our
How do you remember that?
Names. Oh, I listened to the show T to B many times.
Oh, Lord, that's alarming.
No, I don't know.
That would be so weird.
Okay, she continues. Also, I know the original Boys in the Lab TM had an unfortunate COVID-related accident. Not going to mention that. But have the new Boys in the Lab, trademark pending, taken up the daddy research? As somebody who has spent far too much time on TikTok, I can assure you that daddy culture is going stronger than ever right now. And I will say this, our interns have been hard at work doing the daddy research, but they're focused on a new angle. Having noticed that people call priests father Father Maxwell, Father Talbot, Father Shanley, etc. We've had them conduct tests to see how priests react when they are called, instead of Father Shandley, a Daddy Shandley, for example, instead. So far, they seem to be super into it, and we've had actually some problems.
Oh, God.
They're just, they just love it. It seems like what they've been trying to hint at this whole time. Anyway, on to recommendations. I would recommend the Melanie Martinez album K-12. It is a full-length movie/music video that goes through the entire album, and then some Prepisodes, Uncle Cracker, Follow Me, Rehab, Bartender, and then a solo cast recommendation to cover what happened at Altamont, a fucked up story for sure. Keep on keeping on, Bree.
Thanks, Bree. That was a pretty good email.
Yes.
A lot
one
in
more,
there.
very short one. This is called Go Wildcats from Morgan. She writes, or he writes, why don't you have shirts that say Wildcats on the front in that baseball style writing, and on the back where the last name is, it says track and the number is 04. Also, sponsor a small children's sports team, you fools.
Oh, half of that's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, as I wrote back to her, we had this exact same idea trademarked, let's just say October 4th. Just throwing that out there.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I'll testify to that.
Yes.
And Tim will corroborate it.
I will.
2 against 1.
That's right. Garrett.
Yes.
Do you have an email? Did I read both of your emails?
Nope. I have several others that are not those.
Oh, good.
I will begin. The first one is from Tyler. Tyler titles his, sorry for the late reply. Don't worry, Tyler. We have emails from 2018 we've not gotten back to.
Quiet you.
Tyler writes, Dear Garrett and the Bear. Pretty good nickname.
I am by far the smaller and less hairy of us. So if anything...
Don't say it. Say it.
No.
Okay. Like some sort of cub or...
Let's just move on.
What's like a smaller... hairless mammal.
No, not a mammal,
those
Garrett,
little
a
pink
lizard.
river dolphins.
Ooh, that would be fun. Anyway, Garrett, continue reading your email, please.
Sorry, I got distracted by what kind of animal. It's pretty good. Anyway, as I was saying, Pink River Dolphin. Sorry for the late reply. I came down with a case of drunk mime syndrome that had me out of commission for a little bit. I tried to reach out, but due to my mime-related circumstances, I only had access to an invisible computer, so I doubt you were able to see my invisible emails.
Been there.
Appreciate him writing them, though.
Yeah.
First things first. Sorry for making you listen to Accidental Racist. The episode was great regardless. Well, thank you, Tyler, I think was your name. Since abandoning the striped shirt, I've been catching up on, this has got all sorts of spelling errors. I've been catching up on recent trends and felt that you guys are owed a congratulations, I like that, for your foresight on the culture of the youths. And he has capitalized youths. That's fantastic. I'm sure you don't need reminding. It's definitely not what that sentence says. But just in case, I am, of course, referring to your prediction of the term, oh no, Tim. Oh no. I'm, of course, referring to your prediction of the term glazing being a thing from the Saint Anger episode. Remember that when we were talking about glazing?
I do, and I don't like where this is going.
Yeah. Well, as you can see from the attached Google Trends screenshot, glazing was at a pretty consistent level at the start of 2018, the year that episode was released. But by 2022, the term had skyrocketed into becoming a full-on slang term.
So we can't really take credit for predicting it because almost certainly we did this, right? These are our listeners typing this in. And as our listenership grows, of course, it is affecting Google Trends.
And that is what Tyler is saying. I'm confident that this was exclusively your doing, so congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I've been really racking, it says working, but I think he means racking, my brain to try to come up with some recommendations as good as Accidental Racist, but it's a tough challenge to overcome. After much research, I have come to 2 recommendations that you might not have gotten before. The first is Ill Mind of Hobson 4 by Hobson. Remember Hobson?
No.
I want to say they do stuff with ICP.
Probably.
We should know. It's been 5 years of ICP albums. He's appeared somewhere. Anyway, a real stinker, love the use of the word stinker, Tyler, a real stinker of a rap song that features the choice line, oh my God, I may bleep this. Why do people gotta be the only ones who can't evolve? Yeah, we're gonna be bleeping part of that sentence because I don't want any record of me ever having said it. And yes, it is a series of songs. I think there are 7 or 8 of them total. I assumed it was an album. The other recommendation is Hawaii Part 2 by Miracle Musical. Full disclosure, I actually like this album, but it is weird enough that you guys will have a fun time with it. I don't really know what it is about, but the over $500 vinyl release on Amazon has at least one comically pretentious review. Jesus. Couple other things. A buddy of mine who also listens to the show wanted me to ask you guys to do an episode on Murder of the Universe by King Gizzard. Another case of us really liking an album, but it's just weird enough to be fun for the show. I do agree, but I really like that album, so probably won't happen. Also, a Snopple fun fact for you. Another anonymous friend of mine grew up in the same town as Brad Paisley and told us that when he wanted to film a music video in the town, he allegedly had a very hard time finding extras to be in it because everyone who met him, allegedly, said he was a real asshole.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to say everyone that met him immediately died.
That would have been weird, and I feel like we would have heard about that. Email continues. Also, since Tim is a big crazy conspiracy guy, accurate, I wanted to share this video I was recommended.
I'm a conspiracy fan.
Yeah, you are.
I
It's
don't
upsetting.
believe any of this stuff.
That's true. Anyway, I wanted to share this video I was recommended when I was a teenager, and I have not stopped thinking about it because it is totally batshit insane. The man created a whole new origin myth for the Earth, and he did. He did, Tim. It's in our email. Feel free.
Ooh.
Anyways, keep up the good work. Hope you can use any of this, and I look forward to emailing you guys again in another 4 years. Happy Spooktacular.
I really should have been given this video beforehand. We could be talking about this origin myth. Maybe that's what I'll do for next week.
Feel free not to. I gotta tell you, I have one more email. It's very short, and
please.
we might have read it before, but it's from February 2023 from Charles. Charles writes, "Hi, Garrett and the other one. I fear Garrett may have to put his, violence job to good use. Minnesota has produced many terrible things. Chris Pratt, Sean William Scott, and Juicy Lucy's. However, their greatest crime is creating a band that claim to call themselves Texas Toast. If anything should happen to these pretenders, perhaps including ninjas or being wrapped up in a rug, then Minnesota's reputation might be restored. Love, Sea-Dog."
I think I posted something on this on the Instagram. They were
Seems possible.
Yeah.
Love, Sea-Dog. P.S. Have you considered calling yourselves Corn Dog and Shit for Brains?
I don't know. I'm not really much of a corn dog.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're more of an SFB. I still like Scooter and the Beef.
Yeah. There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah. Back when I had free time to do extra little fringe jokes in preparation for the show. Anyway, Tim, you got some music news you want to throw in my ears?
Oh, I get to go first just automatically? I like that. Roll the song, Gino.
Music news of the weird.
In Aaron Lewis is the gift that keeps on giving news.
Oh.
His fans continue to be some of the classiest citizens of this great nation. To wit, this story begins when 34-year-old Casey Trayon Castro of Roanoke, Virginia, was arrested for the whole January 6th unpleasantness and convicted in June of 8 felony counts, including assaulting, resisting, and impeding police, civil disorder, and robbery. She was apparently among the first to push past police lines and stole an officer's riot shield. She was scheduled for sentencing in mid-November. Pretty spooky stuff. Also, fun news, Jay Johnson just got sentenced to a year in prison, which is pretty funny.
Take that, Jimmy Pesto.
That's right. You're a jerk. You're a jerk, Jimmy.
You're a real jerk, Jimmy. Sorry, I'm
Anyway,
laughing. Wait,
yeah.
Hold on. Who is the lady? Who's the lady that got sentenced?
At this point, she's just a random person at the January 6th thing. But
I see.
this woman was allowed to remain free on bond, however, which is a mistake. And she went to an Aaron Lewis of Stained concert. And apparently she got a little drunk, which probably violates the terms of her parole, and was apparently trespassing at Dr. Pepper Park, where Mr. Lewis was performing as part of his American Patriot tour. Now, when officers approached her, she, of course, stinking of booze and unsteady on her feet, she at first refused to give her name to the popo and then attempted to run away, which she was immediately caught. At which point, she repeatedly kicked one of the officers in the knee and then bit Deputy Redacted on the leg. She was charged with 2 felony counts of assault and battery of an officer and 1 misdemeanor count of public intoxication. And because this kind of thing is apparently not automatic in our strange patchwork system of laws, her probation officers for that whole January 6th thing were only alerted to these new charges after her boyfriend called them to rat her out. Prosecutors are currently arguing she no longer be free on parole awaiting her sentencing for the January 6th thing because, in their words, her alleged conduct in Roanoke was shockingly similar to her actions on January 6th. Clearly, she cannot be deterred from committing additional crimes or made to follow the release conditions. This isn't that music related other than it happened at an Aaron Lewis concert, and I believe is emblematic of Aaron Lewis fans who are, and this is true, pretty classy.
Witnesses on the scene report the defendant screaming, "Dude, it's been a while," as she was dragged off the premises. What's the one he does with Durst? I'm on the outside, I'm looking in. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, while she's biting an officer's leg.
Screaming, "I thought this was America."
It is a very Randy Marsh move. Garrett, what other news do you have?
Well, Tim, after many years of ridicule, singer Fergie can finally put to rest the title of worst national anthem ever. And that is thanks to a singer I was not familiar with by the name of Loomis. Did you hear about this?
I did.
Did you hear about this?
No.
That's wild stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm unaware, so please enlighten me.
Fantastic. Singer Loomis totally butchered. You know, it's so great. Totally butchered the national anthem and you're going to have questions. Don't worry, I have answers. She butchered the national anthem at the free and equal elections presidential debate. Let me explain what that is.
Is this the
Yes.
non-Republican Democrat candidates?
Yeah, you started out saying it perfectly. It's the minority candidate debate.
Okay.
That nobody watches.
Although, honestly, maybe they
Better
should.
debate.
Yeah.
Yeah, way better debate. Typically. I did not watch this, to be clear. I did watch the clip I'm about to describe, and it's highly worth your time if you haven't heard it.
The clip we're about to play a sample of right here.
God, don't make extra work, but maybe, because it's wild. It's pretty funny.
And the rockets, red girl. I fucked it up. Can I go back, please? Bombs bursting, and then I got too nervous. Gay parole.
Anyway, she starts off fine. It's not amazing, but it's fine. Then she goes off key very quickly, loses her cool, and into the...
Nothing is funnier than watching somebody panic while they're singing a song. Because you know exactly what's happening. You completely lose your confidence, and the voice
gone.
Immediately drops.
It's amazing. So you get to see a person panic, realize what's really happened, and get so much more panicked. So let me describe it. So she goes off key quickly, loses her cool, and into the microphone that she's singing into, she goes, "I fucked it up. Can I go back? Can I go back, please?" And as if all that's not just horrible, you hear a cameraman just go, "No, we're live." And she's like, "Oh God." And it just gets worse and worse for the rest of the anthem while you see these also Rand candidates standing in the shadows behind her. It's awesome. When you hear the guy go, "We're live," she's just like, "Oh no." Because she literally says, "I fucked it up. Can I go back?" into the microphone on a live C-SPAN broadcast.
Yep, which we all know because we've played the clip.
Maybe.
The whole song.
What? No.
I don't know.
Maybe. It's great. All right, Tim, what other news do you got?
In really weird takes news, Dame Helen Mirren recently did an interview with the Evening Standard's Brave New World.
This is so confusing.
And she mused on technology as she sometimes does. She says, "I feel so grateful that I lived in a world without technology for quite some time. I knew a world without technology in a deep and full sense. Human connection was a very different thing back then." However, she then stressed that she does like technology, particularly GPS, the absence of which she believes is one of the great tragedies of a very specific person's life. According to her, "I always say, it's so sad that Kurt Cobain died when he did, because he never got to see GPS. It's the most wonderful thing. My little blue spot walking down the street. I find it completely magical and unbelievable." Now, Garrett.
That's the reason you're sad he's dead?
That would be
Google
a weird
Maps?
one-off take. I assume you'd agree.
Yeah.
But it is not, because apparently thinking about technology that Kurt Cobain missed out on is a running theme with this woman. In 2014, 2014, she told Oprah, "Look at Kurt Cobain. He hardly even saw a computer. The digital stuff that's going on is so exciting. I'm just so curious about what happens next." In 2015, she told Cosmopolitan, "I was thinking about Kurt Cobain the other day, and he died without knowing the internet, and I'm totally blown away by that." In 2016, she told the Daily Mail, "If I died at 27, the age Kurt Cobain died in 1994, I'd have never even known there was an internet. Incredible things are happening all the time, and I can't wait to see what comes next," which raises the question, Helen, what's the deal?
Yeah, Helen, okay, couple possibilities. One, Helen Mirren, Kurt Cobain, secret best friends.
That would explain this.
Possibility number two, Helen Mirren, huge Nirvana fan, simultaneously endlessly surprised and marveling at new technology.
But what I can see if she had said it once, because the immediate reaction is, that's a weird take.
Maybe you go in Helen Mirren's house and there's a bunch of like Nirvana stuff.
She's probably got a series of paintings that she has made of Kurt Cobain using modern day technology and really enjoying it. Maybe with like a little halo or something? Some wings?
Don't make it dumb. Your idea is borderline fucking great. Take dead musicians who died before their time and put them into scenarios using modern technology.
But at the age they would be. So like a really befuddled, like 80-year-old Hendrix unable to work his mouse.
Great idea. Fucking old John Lennon trying to reset his router. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, Garrett, do you have more news?
I sure do. In You Should Know Better Little Dirk news, Little Dirk is being named by the feds as a top mastermind behind the murder-for-hire plot conspiracy and the attempt on Quando Rondo's life that left his cousin dead, and may have been trying to flee the country when he was arrested.
Which makes sense. I would too. I will.
The complaint comes on... You say that shit thinking that you're never going to be pursued for a murder.
No, I don't.
Oh.
I'm daring them to catch me, Garrett, before I hit
you're
old
gonna make
Mexico.
it hard if they do to get bail.
Yeah, that's true.
If I may read the transcript, Your Honor, if I'm ever charged, I'm going to Italy. No, seriously, I'm going to run. I mean it. This is not a joke.
It's a comedy show.
Gino, flip the switch. We are officially in the no-bit zone.
Right, but in my defense, this is something you are on the record now saying.
That's true. Anyway, the complaint comes on the heels of the previous indictment of his 5 other friends, allegedly all only the family gang members, who prosecutors say were on the scene of the August 22nd shooting of Savaya Robinson, aka Le Pub. Know how to say that any other way. The complaint states that the OTF members acted on the orders of Dirk, who prosecutors believe was looking for revenge for King Von's October 2020 shooting death after a clash with Quando's camp in Atlanta. I did some Googling because I was like, I've heard of Little Dirk. He's not, I don't really tend to listen to anyone who begins their name with lol, except for Kim. But I looked him up, like, he's legit. He has at least 2 top 10 hits. He was fleeing the country on a private jet to Italy. Dude's got money. Why are you shooting people or ordering people to shoot people?
Right. Or, listen, if you have that much money, you need a really nice code when you want to tell somebody to kill somebody. Or maybe just have a good buddy who knows who needs to be killed.
Yeah. It helps if you know somebody that's got like a lot of history and experience working in that arena around the world.
Absolutely. A violence job, one could say.
But shouldn't say.
No.
Could, but shouldn't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, definitely didn't now. Tim, what other news do you have getting us off that topic?
Well, Garrett, in election news, the final presidential election of the United States of America is currently being held today, November 5th, 2024. So please go vote. There is not much time left. Please go vote. If you're listening to this after November 5th, then please join me in congratulating our last president, Mr. Trump. We were just kidding about all those things we said about you. You seem like not the worst human being on the planet, and always remember Garrett hated you more. He said it constantly.
On, man.
Or conversely, if Kamala Harris won, maybe keep an eye on Casey Tiran Castro from that earlier story about the Aaron Lewis in January. She seems like a real wild card and apparently still has access to alcohol, and her parole officers do not seem to be doing their job. But Garrett, there is hope in the meantime. For those of you that care, Violent J, aka Joe Brew, the name we are all more familiar with, is backing Vice President Harris, although probably not voting himself, telling The Daily Show, I want her to win because she's a Democrat and I love my mom. Which doesn't make sense, I don't think. But the point is, we once again find ourselves on the side of those filthy clowns. And juggalos, I will say this, nothing prevents voter intimidation in, a county in Georgia, for say, like juggalos showing up at the polls. Also, nothing causes a different kind of voter intimidation like juggalos at the polls. I don't know. So vote if you're a juggalo and also if you're a normal human person.
Earlier I asked who would be judged in open society in these modern lax times.
Yeah, because they're sticky.
Found it.
Yep. But again, if you're listening to this on election day, maybe you're in a swing state, maybe you're in line waiting to vote currently, vote against the worst human being on the planet, whichever one of the candidates you think fits that description. Again, sure, he's going to win. He's going to put in a bunch of judges that will cause generational harm to the country. But when your grandkids ask why interracial marriage and masturbation are illegal, wouldn't you at least like to be able to honestly say you voted against the guy that's ultimately responsible for that?
God damn it.
I mean, granted, most of our audience is likely white males, so they're going to be late on the groups, one of the later groups truly affected by this, but go vote, you fucking fucks.
Yeah, it's true. We do skew a bit white male. It's crazy the statistics you get out of our various platforms. Anyway, who was doing news? You? Did you do news?
That was sort of news. Joe Brew. What about you, Garrett? Do you have more news?
I do. Recently, The Game, about the rapper The Game, Tim?
Oh, I thought you meant the hit 1997 film The Game.
No, the rapper.
Oh, I also know the rapper.
Fantastic. Rapper The Game parked his car in San Fernando Valley on Wednesday as of the writing of this article, only to return and find somebody had broken into the vehicle and taken around, let's do it this way, taken some number in designer bags and various other merchandise. Tim, would you like to guess the value of the merchandise stolen out of this man's car?
$14,000.
$100,000 in
Good God.
trinkets and, this is his words, designer bags, leading me to ask, what is The Game doing?
Right.
Like, both, why is that in your car, and why are you leaving that in your car? I don't leave my phone in my car.
No, it
because
gets all
someone will
hot.
smash it.
Oh.
Well, no, also that, I guess. But, why did he think that people wouldn't smash a window and take all his shit?
Maybe it's a trap.
No, he came back and was just like, where's all my shit? Where are all my designer bags? How many designer bags do you need?
Maybe he forgot to spring the trap or set the trap.
I had to run to the restroom. I would abandon the trap theory.
Speaking of trap, Garrett, I recently watched M. Night Shyamalan's Trap. Did you watch
Should
this?
I watch that?
Definitely watch it, Garrett. It's so crazy. We should talk about it. It is prime for why I hate this movie or whatever we're calling it.
Oh, that's not exciting.
No, it's so great, Garrett. It's not
good.
It is insane.
Will I
hope
be
you know
entertained?
nothing about it. You will be very entertained.
I know they're in an arena.
Yes, that's all. That's the only thing that happens. They go to it's about a father and his daughter. Father taking his daughter to essentially a Taylor Swift concert.
Okay, yeah, that's technically all I know. However, knowing it's M. Night Shyamalan, I do have theories.
There are no twists.
That cannot be true.
No, it's basically a concert film. I believe his daughter plays the musician, so I think it's just trying to help her get a career.
Okay, Tim, other news.
Oh no, I have no more news.
I'll end on a really fun one. Over the past, 2 weeks as of the recording of this episode, 2 Milwaukee radio stations known for their oldies songs switched their formats for the next week and dubbed this new format The Haunt. So the stations are playing a broadly defined Halloween format, which led me to the question, how broad are we talking? So I looked at the playlist from Monday morning, and it included the following songs: Chocolate by the 1975, AC/DC's Highway to Hell, Heathens by 21 Pilots, and Ray Parker Jr.'s Ghostbusters.
Ooh,
I vote great idea. I think it should be mandatory. All stations. Well, I mean, I would never know. When's the last time you put on a radio station?
Oh, it's been a decade, maybe? No, there's been a rental car situation where I've been curious, but...
and not an English one, then.
No.
Probably driving in Portugal or the Netherlands.
Maybe.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the show where we get to announce what album we're going to be talking about next week. And Tim, what album is coming on the tail end, the first fresh new album after the Spooktacular?
Well, Garrett, let me get this ball thing. What do we call it? Ball-o-matic. There it is. Running.
I don't think we call it that.
Ooh, Garrett, the Spooktacular continues with Gwar's 1990 album, Scumdogs of the Universe. That's right.
God damn damn it.
That's right. It's random. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Don't know why you're looking at me like that. I don't know why
'Cause
everybody is looking at me like that.
I feel like you stuffed the ball-o-matic.
Random.
You keep screaming random. Doesn't make it random.
Gwar, Garrett. We're doing Gwar. The Spooktacular continues for at least one more week into November.
I'm disappointed by this. All right, whatever. Okay, that's going to do it for this week. As always, rate, review, subscribe, follow, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your mother, tell your parents, tell your parents-in-law. Make them listen to the show. Pick a good one and then tell them to start there. Once they've become, what's the right word, indoctrinated, then tell them to start over from the beginning. You can skip the first 7. Okay, once you've done all that, you can get on Instagram and follow us. That's HatePod. Then you can get on Twitter, and even though we barely use it, you can follow us there. It's album HatePod. I'm G Harvey Tweets if you want to talk to me. You can also find us at hatePodMail@gmail.com or hatepod.com. Click on contact us in the upper left-hand corner if you want to go that route. We've got subreddits. We've got Discord servers. We are not hard to find. If you're on the internet, you will find us. But for this week, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been the other, Timothy P. Richardson. And on July 13th, 2016, Garrett P. Harvey said, really shouldn't sweat that much sitting motionless.
That is good advice.
Is it advice, though?
Yeah,
Seems
if you're
like
sweating that much,
criticism
don't.
on one of our two's bodies.
I believe we were on an airplane.
Could have been either one of us, honestly.
It might have been both.
Delightful.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.